Our twins, CJ and Matthew, were diagnosed with ADHD in October of 2022. By the time they were 2 years old, they went 72 hours with no sleep. When I try to take my boys out to any type of store, they will try to rip things off of the shelf, they will scream, they will throw things out of the cart. It has actually been 4 months since I have taken them out in public. It started off with fits of rage, throwing themselves on the floor, hitting their heads into the cupboards, kicking their feet. A few months ago, Carl had been angry about his sippy cup not being filled up. Here. And he started kicking the TV stand. I eventually grabbed him and kind of bear hugged him. And at that point, he started screaming and kicking and biting and clawing at his face, slapping me, pulling my hair.
I've seen the boys hit their sisters. I've seen them hit Cassie. I've seen him definitely hit each other. I've spent a couple $1,000s on baby gates because of how fast these kids would break them.
We've exhausted all options of discipline. They were put on Ritalin in January of 2023. We wanted the doctors to give us alternatives to medication, but this is all we were given, and it barely helps.
Welcome.
Hi.
You've been listening to what we've been talking about here so far. Anything jumped out at you that we've been talking about?
Choices. Everybody has choices. That was a big thing for me when I was actually talking prior to the show. A lot of people have choices, but I have noticed that I don't have a lot of choices. It feels like a lot of the times when I talk to doctors or pediatricians, most of the times they give me the options and I don't ever get to choose.
Well, you always get to choose. You may not be exercising the choice, but it's always your choice. No one knows your child better than you. And there are concerning behaviors. You'll put in child safety locks, for example. That just barely slows them down, right?
Doesn't even stop them anymore.
They've stayed awake for 72 hours at one point.
72 hours. And that was my breaking point. Because I was exhausted. They were exhausted. They never took naps. We would take them for car rides and try to pass them out, and they wouldn't fall asleep.
That didn't work. And that always works.
It usually always works,
yeah, you
especially
take them for a
babies.
drive, that
Yeah.
vibration will get them. And you said they can really be aggressive. They headbutt the table and doors. They throw themselves backwards onto the floor or into the wall. They're throwing things at people, hitting their sisters in the head with like toys and cars and things like that. So, I was saying, you're tired. She's got two of them. And so you two understand each other.
Oh, yeah.
And if you tell them no, what's their response?
Their first initial response is to just start bloody murder screaming, kicking their feet. Actually, in one of the first videos, you saw him knocking the shoes off of the shelf. That was actually last week. He wanted his sippy cup filled. And I don't know if it's their medication. I don't know. But they just feel like they have to have their sippy cups filled as soon as it's emptied. Eventually, it turns violent. They start throwing the cups at things. They break TVs. They break other things throughout the house. They'll start attacking me, punching me, calling me names.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.